In 1973, Jim Adler opened a one-man law office in downtown Houston. 50 years later, he didn't just build a firm. He built a brand so recognizable, it outgrew the lawyer behind it. Here's how he did it. I'm Daisy Lopez, Senior Growth Specialist here at Abogados Now. We've worked with over 500 law firms nationwide, driven more than $250 million in settlement fees, and as a Google Premier partner, we're among the top 3% of agencies in the world. We've studied the growth playbooks of the biggest consumer-facing firms in America, and Jim Adler's branding strategy is one of the clearest case studies we've seen.
Before we continue, a quick note and the only break you'll hear in today's episode. Most attorneys know they should be reaching Hispanic clients, but very few do it well. That's where we come in. At Abogados Now, we build authentic Spanish language campaigns that actually get you more cases and grow your practice. So if you're looking for a new way to get more clients, book a call with our team today at abogadosnow.com. Now, let's get back to the episode.
Back in 1973, Jim Adler started with a single office in downtown Houston. Just him. No partners, no TV, no brand, just a personal injury lawyer and a belief he could take on insurers. Fast forward to today. Over 20 attorneys, roughly 300 paralegals, and case managers across 4 Texas offices. With a whopping 11,000 plus Google reviews, he's now a household name in the biggest cities in Texas. And fun fact, he's also been covered by John Oliver and has even been parodied by Beavis and Butthead, which proves how big and recognizable his name really is. But here's where it gets interesting. Jim Adler knew he wasn't going to be a recognizable asset with a name that didn't stick. So, in order to become a household name, he created one, the Texas Hammer, a branded persona focus grouped with iconic imagery, a sledgehammer, and an 18-wheeler. And here's the payoff. People who can't recall Jim Adler, the lawyer, instantly recognize the Texas Hammer. The brand became the asset, not the person. In 2008, he even registered the Texas Hammer as a trademark with the USPTO, meaning the persona itself became a protected asset, not just a catchphrase, an actual piece of intellectual property. Over decades, he poured over $100 million into TV advertising, all in the pursuit of relentless saturation in both English and Spanish markets. A true display of how much branding is worth to his business growth. Now, here's the part that separates him from everyone who claims to do brand marketing. He didn't take the Texas Hammer and bolt a Spanish translation onto his English website. He rebuilt the entire playbook in Spanish. The Spanish brand is called El Martillo Tejano, literally the Texas Hammer in Spanish. And it's a complete parallel operation built from the ground up for Spanish speakers. El Martillo Tejano is registered as its own trademark. Same sledgehammer, same 18-wheeler, same brand discipline, just in Spanish. There's a complete Spanish website, not a translated page, but a fully built Spanish brand home, dedicated messaging for Spanish speakers. And his $100 million advertising spend, that ran in Spanish too. Television, print, billboards, reaching Spanish-speaking injury victims across Texas with the same relentless frequency. We've even seen his TV ads where he spoke the Spanish himself, not opting for a professional Spanish dub.
Jim Adler, El Martillo Tejano está de tu lado. Llama ahora.
Los conductores peligrosos merecen pagar. Yo lucho duro por lo que merecen.
He didn't have to do it, but he did, because it was his primary market strategy from day one. Jim Adler committed to Spanish-speaking Texans the exact same way he committed to English speakers, with brand discipline, media spend, and a trademark persona that owned the space. The result? El Martillo Tejano is now one of the most recognizable personal injury brands for Spanish speakers in Texas. And of course, an equally recognizable English PI firm. No lucky brand growth, it was all strategic commitment. After more than 20 years and millions spent on advertising in Spanish, El Martillo Tejano is as much a household name in that market as a Texas Hammer is in English. Think about that. The exact same brand playbook, trademark persona, focus grouped imagery, relentless media saturation, worked in 2 different markets, 2 different languages. Most firms treat Spanish as a checkbox. We have a Spanish speaker, or we translated our site. Adler treated it as a distinct market requiring its own brand, its own budget, and its own discipline. And that difference, full commitment versus half-baked translation, is what separates a brand that owns a market from a brand that gets lost in it. A firm with 20 plus attorneys and 300 support staff across multiple offices doesn't get there by accident or by translating ads. It gets there by building real brand moats, and Adler built them in 2 languages. If you're going to serve Spanish speakers, serve them the way Adler did. A unique brand, owned messaging, dedicated media spend, and most importantly, with the same care and discipline you'd bring to your English market. Half measures don't build brands, they dilute them. Adler's playbook proves that. Today, the Texas Hammer and El Martillo Tejano aren't 2 different strategies. They're the same disciplined brand play, running in 2 markets, protecting the same persona, reaching the same injured people in the languages they actually speak. Do most personal injury firms have the budget or the patience to build a disciplined brand in 2 languages? No. That's the whole point. And that's why Jim Adler's brand, both versions of it, stand alone in Texas. He did the work most firms won't do. About 1 in 5 Americans are Hispanic. In Texas, it's higher, reaching at 40% of the population. For Adler, treating that market as secondary would leave money on the table. Back in the 80s, it was half of that, 20%. Now we're at double the percentage with a lot more Hispanics. But because he invested early when the population was steadily growing, he now owns the Hispanic market in Texas. And he's not even Hispanic himself. Jim Adler's 50-year playbook shows that the firms that win aren't the ones with the most lawyers. They're the ones willing to commit to the markets where their clients actually live in the languages they actually speak. If you're ready to stop translating and start building a real Spanish language brand, let's talk. Book a call. The link's in the description. Let's build a brand that will actually be remembered. Talk soon.